that you are here. Today we are going to be talking about the topic of how can I wait to have sex when I really want to. And I'm going to be answering this question from a personal perspective, from my own perspective. As many of you guys know that I am a virgin, I'm saving myself to marriage. And with that comes temptation. With that, people don't believe it, but I do also have desires and stuff like that. So I'm going to be talking today about, saving yourself for marriage and just some advice that has helped me stay, on the path towards purity, and some that'll help you as well. I pray that this blesses you. No further ado, let's get started. So guys, let's get ready to talk about how to wait to have sex when you really want to. Before I begin, I want to start by saying firstly that if you want to have sex, that is completely normal. It doesn't matter how saved you are. It doesn't matter how Christian you are. You are human. At your core, you're a woman. If you're watching this, you're a man. So wanting to have sex is something that's completely normal, and I feel like it's time that we acknowledge that, that it's a feeling. God created sex, and we will have sexual urges and desires. The second thing that I want to say, and this is not a point, but this is just me talking to you guys before I dive into my points, is that if you slipped up, and if you have had sex, and if you have slipped up and are slipping up, know that God will forgive you. Know that His redemption is there for you. Know that He is a God that's full of grace and mercy, and the word teaches us that His grace is sufficient for you. And so that doesn't mean that we just continue to just keep doing what we've been doing, but it means that if we mess up, when we mess up, God's grace is sufficient. So I want to share with you my personal journey of how I managed to stay pure, and just kind of give you guys some background on that, and then also some advice that has helped me, because I know that the urge is real, especially when everybody around you is having sex or is looking at you crazy when they find out that you are waiting to have sex. So so my journey, you guys, started, I was actually inspired by my mom. She was in her 30s, but she was married, and she was a virgin. So thankfully I had an amazing role model to look up to in the form of my mom. Thankfully my mom is still here. She gives me advice, and she's just been a constant source of inspiration for me in my journey. And so I've taken that, and then I ran with it on my own, and I just decided, based on my walk with Christ, this is something I really want to save for my husband. It's something I want to save because I honestly feel like I've always said in my videos, I will get so attached once I do have it. And so I just really wanted to save myself for my husband, for sanity and peace of mind. So that's kind of why I started on this journey. My mother, God, my future husband. And so here's some pieces of advice that I've learned. Number one is that God's design for a relationship is better. God's design for a relationship is better. So what does that mean, Delana? That means that, the world tells us to have sex and have lots of it, and have it with different people, and to have it on the first night, and have it within minutes of swiping. But God's design for relationships is so much better, because with it you have peace, you guys. With it, if they don't call back, if they don't text back, you haven't given your body to them, so you feel such a sense of peace. And so God put guidelines in His word, in order for us to stay pure, in order for us to stay sane, in order for us to stay being able to choose wisely who our future mates will be. And so His design for a relationship is best. And so when you look at that, one of the things that you could take away from it is that God, He instructs us not to fornicate. He instructs us not to have sex, not to punish us, you guys, but actually as a loving Father to protect us from the hurt that comes with being ghosted when you have sex with the person, the hurt that comes with when they're not texting or calling you back. He put those guidelines in place to protect us, so that when we're dating without having sex, we're able to clearly see who this person is, who this individual is, so that when we get married, it will be the best choice for us, because we are doing it God's way. All right, the second point that has helped me is that if you wouldn't want to sit and tell your parents or tell other people around you what you are doing, with your partner, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. So if you're embarrassed to say what you're doing, you probably shouldn't be doing it. And I know this is kind of different nowadays because the culture is so different. Like, it's just like people literally say everything they're doing. But if you're embarrassed or ashamed to say what you're doing, then you probably shouldn't be doing it before marriage. And that's just kind of the way that I, laid out my life, the way that I've navigated abstinence and purity, is that if I'm too ashamed to say it, talk about it with my pastor, with my parents and people around me, then I probably shouldn't be doing it. And that's pretty much has helped me so much. All right. Number 3, you guys, is to don't put yourself in situations where you will be tempted. I know that may be, some people like, that's so hard, but you gotta like kind of weigh it, you guys. Like, if you put yourself in a situation where you'll be tempted, where it's late at night, it's 3 a.m., they're at your house, you're at their house, that's a great recipe for you to fall into sexual temptation, and so setting those guidelines and boundaries in place are so important. And if you did not know, I have a course that is done really well. It's called Celibate in the City. It's one that I created where I go over how to specifically set boundaries, how to set guidelines, how to have those conversations with a man that you're dating and maybe even be in relationship with. But it's so necessary that you don't put yourself in situations where you will be tempted, and just making sure that you have those guidelines and boundaries set into place so that you're not falling, and making sure that number 4, that you have an accountability partner, you guys. That has helped me so much, someone who I'm accountable to. And I know we're grown. I know you grown, girl, you grown. But it's so important because a lot of times we feel like, we're grown, we don't need accountability, but that often lands us in a heap of trouble. So make sure you get an accountability partner, whether it's your a family member, your sister, your friend, an accountability partner, so that you can abstain, guys, because it brings so much glory and so much honor to God. And ultimately, like, that's my focus, that's my goal, is to please His heart. So I hope that this has inspired you to, continue on your journey of abstinence, or maybe even if you haven't been abstinent, to say, you know what, I'm gonna abstain, because honestly, the peace of mind that comes with it, the clarity that comes from your walk with Christ, and just the feeling that, I'm making this decision for me and I'm gonna honor God above all else, is so beautiful, you guys. So if you are doing that, congratulations. If you are not doing it, maybe you will consider, being abstinent. I'm sending lots of love your way. Thank you guys in advance. Make sure you like this video, you comment, you subscribe, and share. You guys, sharing is caring. Also, make sure you tell me down below what are some tips to abstain and wait to have sex, and also, are you abstaining and waiting to have sex? Make sure you comment down below and we can have a conversation. I'll talk to you guys soon. Love you.